you guys hear me? Yeah? OK. I'm not going to use the slides, which I think that you probably will be grateful about, especially after last night's party, right? So what I'm going to try to do over the next few minutes is I'm going to try to share with you a little bit of the reality of what I have been doing for the last 9 months, which is basically give up on corporate email. Yeah? I work for a big, large corporation, which is IBM, as you probably know. It's an email-driven company, like most of you probably can relate to. And around 9 months ago, I decided that I had enough. I had enough of email. It was not making me productive. It was making everyone else but me productive, right? So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to show you what that experience was like, what it is living without email. To me, it's like heaven, a little bit. And I will try to show you as well some guidance and some tips on how you guys can start yourselves, right? Now, I can understand, obviously, that some people in this audience probably won't have any problems or issues with email. So I'm going to try to make it as well a bit interactive. And I'm going to start asking you guys, anyone here who gets more than 30 emails a day? Hands up. Whoa. That's interesting. More than 50? OK. Any sucker here getting more than 100? OK. You can go now, the ones of 100. This is going to make you very annoying. Right. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to tell you as well why I did this, right? So one of the things that happened is that, like I said before, I work for IBM. I'm actually working for IBM Netherlands. I live and work remotely in Gran Canaria, and I report to the States. So that's the corporate world of the 21st century. Virtual. Completely. I still have a job. That's that right. Actually, it's funny because when I started this 9 months ago, there were two groups of people who were saying, you know, the first reaction was, oh my God, we give you 2 weeks before you're fired. That's what they said to me. I said, OK, let's see. 9 months I've been doing this. Yeah? The other group of people were saying, like, oh my God, someone who finally had the balls to tell the company to stop using email. Right? We're going to pay attention to this guy and see how he does. So over the course of the last few months, I have actually been documented continuously on a weekly basis what that experiment has been like, right? So I went from 30, 40 emails a day, which I know, is more or less the same number that you guys have indicated, right? I went from that number to, say, 20 or 30 a week. And those emails that I get now a week are more than anything else, calendaring events, right? For meetings, conferences, et cetera, et cetera. So I have been able to shift all of that email away from my inbox. Now, you may be wondering, OK, how do I do it? I do it basically using social software. Inside of IBM, I'm a social software evangelist. So I preach to the choir, like to you guys. Yeah, you all sold on it and everything. But what I did 9 months ago, I decided to take it on to the extreme. I decided to prove the point that you can actually use these tools for business. And the best way of doing it is moving away from email. Why? Because in email, everything is locked, private, there's no visibility, and there's something called a political game with the CC and the BCC world. Anyone enjoying that? No one, right? So one of the things that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show everyone how you can actually move away from that world into a world where everything is more open, public, and transparent. And transparent is a key word, especially nowadays with the financial crisis, right? Because, you guys think that if we would have been more transparent, we would be in this situation? Probably not, right? So what I'm going to try to share with you here is that experience has helped me become much more productive because I'm much more in control of how I work, right? And the way I do it is no longer me fighting the corporation using email. It's me hanging out with my communities I belong to several communities, getting the job done. And one of the things that happens, especially in most places, but certainly for corporations, is that most of the adoption of social software happens actually with communities, right? I know that Stowboy says all the time, you know, it's all about me, 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 me. That's a starting point. You actually share content with a group of people that you're passionate about a specific topic, right? So what I tried to show everyone there is the fact that now I'm passionate about what I do because I have a stronger feeling of contribution that I had with email, right? Now, Sue yesterday, for instance, talked that the average of time people are spending on email is probably 2-3 hours a day. Well, imagine now that time for me is spending it in social software tools, both inside and outside of the corporation, right? So I don't do this just with my colleagues, I also do it with customers, which is probably the #1 concern that most of you have, right? Most of the customers that I talk to, they come through to me on Facebook or Twitter. You're all familiar with Twitter, I don't need to explain either of them, right? But that's how I get together with them. And, you know, most of the times, it's just establishing the conversation, which is taking place in an open platform, right? In an open area where everyone can see. So if I'm away, right, one of the things that is happening is that because I have nurtured the relationships with my communities, they get to trust me the same way that I get to trust them. So when I'm away on holidays or here, for instance, I'm talking to you guys in this event, or on vacation, they actually get to do my job. The same way that when I come back, I get to do their job. And we help all each other in such a way that when I come back, and this is something that you can all relate to, especially think of the environment of Twitter, you wake up the next morning and you go on Twitter and you say, hey, anything happened since last night? What did they tell you? No, nothing, move on. Does that happen with email? Especially after you come back from holidays after 3 weeks, and you have got hundreds of emails? How many of you actually go select them all and delete them? And never look back? And do you actually get people emailing you back? No. That to me is an indication that there was a problem, right? So one of the things that I'm trying to do here then is trying to tell people that it is possible to move away from your inbox. It is possible to educate how you work and collaborate with your team, with your community, with your social networks. But the important thing is that you guys need to be the ones challenging it. I'm telling you all this in like 10, 15 minutes, and I know that you're all going to forget about this by the time that you leave there for the coffee, right? The only thing that I can tell you is that if you want to change it, like I did, right, it starts with you. It starts with you going back to your inbox and saying, no, I don't want to work this way. I want to rebel against it. It's not helping me. What you need to do is you need to go where your community are, or where your communities are, more than anything else, because those communities are the ones that are going to help you work together. Because there's one single factor that email doesn't give you: trust. And we always get to work with the people who we trust the most. Thank you.